Hello, everyone. Welcome to Code Coverage MythBusters. I hope you're in comfortable chairs, but you won't fall asleep. I know it's the last session of the day, so you're probably tired. So we'll hope that you'll enjoy the session.
Let's start. Before we start, let's us introduce who we are. I'm really happy today to introduce you, my colleague, Marharyta Nedzelska, staff software engineer at the company Sonar. By the way, she is also Kotlin Google developer expert. You could find her in various social networks if you need to.
Yeah, and I'm also happy to introduce my colleague, Evgeny Mandrikov, who is principal software engineer at Sonar. He is also, by chance, JaCoCo project co-lead. So he is the code coverage guy at this talk. He'll be responsible for all the code coverage issues and problems here. And you can find him in various networks as Godin.
Did we forget something? I think we did. Before we start, we really need to put this disclaimer in. Whatever we are going to say today is not related to the great company where we work. We work at Sonar. Just quick check, who knows this company, who knows our product, SonarCube, SonarLint. Great, wonderful, everybody. Sorry guys, we are not going to talk about those products, or not that much. It's not about that. And our employee can only dream that he owns our opinion. Whatever we are going to say is our own personal opinion. Did I forget something else?
Yeah, I think there is one more thing you should know about me. I am Ukrainian. I came from Switzerland, but originally I'm from Ukraine. And today you probably heard that my country under huge struggling. We are fighting for our freedom. So thanks for the first of all, thank you if you are already supporting Ukraine, and if you feel like you wanna do some charity donation, here is a trusted charity fund that you can use. So feel free to take pictures, scan it. And the most important and the most serious part of the talk is done. Let's have some fun now.
So apparently I'm also going to be responsible for the fun part of this talk, right?
Oh, that means we are doomed here.
Sorry. But okay, code coverage MythBusters. MythBusters, what's that?
Our talk is inspired a little bit, not a little bit, a lot, by the TV show MythBusters. So probably raise your hands if you've ever heard this. Wow. Oh, a lot of people. That's actually surprising because usually maybe more younger generation, I don't know, don't remember this, but I do love this show from my childhood. And for those who don't know, there are two guys who collect some common beliefs, common myths, and they try to reproduce them and see if they actually confirm them or dispel them. So we are going to do the same, but with code coverage.
What will be our myth?
I think since you have how many, 15 years in this JaCoCo industry?
I don't remember.
I'll let you pick up the first one.
Okay, let's actually try with the audience. So, you know Sonar measures code coverage, so you probably also measure code coverage. When you develop, what's your target for code coverage? When you develop your software, you write the tests, which percentage of your code should be covered by the tests? What's your opinion? 80 is pretty good value, yes. Actually, nowadays, kind of average in industry is 80%. But from where this comes? Maybe 0 is a good value. Just write the code, ship into the production, users will test it. I actually like this. Why spend time on who thinks that 0 is a good value?
I think we used it at one of my previous jobs.
Okay. Only me thinks that 0 is good. Maybe 30%? No? 60? Okay, few hands. Yes, it's also not that bad. Seems that everybody gonna say 80. Nowadays, no, not everybody. Okay, others, you think 100? Yeah, I think 100 is also great. What about 110?
Oh, this is the best code coverage.
Yes, I think we should aim for that. So here we come to the myth. I propose the following myth. Code coverage should be 100%.
Oh, that sounds like a difficult one to dispel, you know?
Let's give it a try. How we're going to be doing this?
Yeah, we decided to go some similar approach that these two guys in the MythBusters TV show. So we are trying to reproduce the situation when you write the code and you need to cover everything. So in general, it means that if you write one line of code, you can cover it with a test. So we decided with Evgeny to pick up a ping-pong strategy for pair programming. So one will be write tests, or will be writing code, another one will write test. We don't use TDD in this talk for the reason, but you should. Don't do as we do. And what? Because I am a responsible developer, I prepared the code in advance.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh.
And Evgeny is not, so he's going to be live, and we'll be writing tests live today.
Let's try. That's gonna be fun.
We'll see how principal engineers at Sonar can write tests.
Should I maybe enter the presentation mode? Is it better? Yes, I think it's better now. So, what do you want me in the first example? It's very simple. Sum of two numbers. I think.
No, let's see if you can test it. I don't know what principal engineers do. Do you actually write some code at work?
Yeah, sometimes. What? Static. So, example.
Looks like you're not using Copilot.
Yes, I'm not using Copilot, and also I'm in the different test file, actually. I should be writing in example1 test. Copilot. Maybe internet is not great. I think I have enabled Copilot, but he's not reacting.
Sorry, no AI this time.
Like, super basic, super simple test. Is it good like that?
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, there is nothing more to cover. Let's run the tests and see.
Okay, let's run the test. Example 1, we have a project.
There is no address here, you can write clean and stuff.
No, nowadays you should not use clean, so let's don't use clean. Okay, is it? Yes, build success. Okay, let's have a look at the report.
Yeah, and we all agree that we covered everything, so code coverage should be 100%.
What?
Yes.
What?
Okay, I think this is partially my fault.
Why?
If you get back to our code or the test that you wrote, you use test annotation.
Yes.
Which is coming from org GUnit tests. Which GUnit it is?
GUnit 4.
And
Great GUnit of all times. Like, I love GUnit 4.
Yeah, I know you're old, but like,
what's the problem
you have
with
to
this?
move on.
What's the problem with
The problem, there is nothing wrong with it, except that I wanted you to use GUnit 5. So I added actually a dependency for GUnit 5.
But you also had a dependency for GUnit 4. Come on.
Shit happens.
Okay, and what? So I know that GUnit 4 and GUnit 5, they can co-live together.
Yes, but in order to do it, you need to add additional dependency, which is vintage engine. So if you add it, then you can write GUnit 4 tests on GUnit 5. And like, just curious, raise your hands if you ever faced this problem when you migrated from GUnit 4 to GUnit 5, when you had some legacy tests, and you could only discover it because you see that code coverage is 0. Or you actually never discovered it.
You could also discover this actually from the JaCoCo mailing list. We often come through such thing. Build is successful, but we just need to scroll a little bit further and we're going to see that no tests were executed.
So I think we just got to our first small myth.
But let's verify that it works now.
Let's verify.
Oops.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
I just can refresh the page.
So,
yay! We have some coverage.
Yeah.
So we dispelled something already?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we wanted to show you is that usually we think that zero code coverage is always bad. Like, nobody raised your hands when we want to target zero code coverage. But actually, zero code coverage sometimes can show you that there is a problem in your code, that your tests haven't executed, or like something unexpected happened. So sometimes zero code coverage can serve you as a debugging tool, or like lower amount of code coverage can show you that something is wrong. What? Why are you looking at me?
Wait. Code coverage is a debugging tool. That's an interesting statement. Do you want to have fun with Eclipse? Who uses Eclipse? Oh, okay, few people. It actually doesn't matter. Just for the sake of example, I'm going to be using Eclipse. You can do the same with Tomcat, I don't know, IntelliJ, whatever technology you use. The principle is the same. I'm just going to be using Eclipse to show the example. Together with JaCoCo, I do maintain Eclipse plugin, even though I'm not an Eclipse user, not an Eclipse developer, but I need to maintain this thing. So I inherited some legacy. I know nothing about Eclipse, its APIs, how it works, etc. But sometimes, well, I do receive some reports from the users. Like they do start the Eclipse application with our code coverage plugin, like I'm going to do right now. Hopefully it works. Fingers crossed.
It's Eclipse. I don't know if it works.
Yeah, so like they do some actions. You see the spinner, something happening, and actually they look into the console, and there is an exception stack trace. And they send this exception stack trace to me. I look at it, and well, there is not much about our plugin. It's Eclipse debug UI. There is nothing about our plugin. What do I do? How I can investigate this? Why it is happening? It's clearly an issue in our plugin, but where to start investigations? And here is a trick that I would like to share with you today. I can run some application with the code coverage measurement enabled. And why not to start Eclipse with code coverage measurement enabled?
You just started Eclipse from Eclipse?
With code coverage,
interesting
yes.
bug, actually. Do you notice this? That Eclipse
yes.
was flipped.
On macOS, there is flipped splash screen. So it's Eclipse with code coverage enabled. Let's trigger the loading of our plugin. Yes, there is some exception. No, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry. Let's don't trigger the exception. Let's do it again.
So now when you told it to me, like I always do this.
Okay, so let's trigger the loading of plugin. Hopefully it's loaded. Let's request in the original instance the measurement of code coverage. Okay, it's 0. Let's for real trigger the plugin. Let's request the code coverage again. Yes, something was executed. We are not interested in this because it was some initialization, etc. What we're interested in, yes, every time we request, we are going to reset what we collected. What we are interested in is an action that triggers exception. Let me do this action. And let's now request code coverage. Hopefully it's going to work. Yes, you see a little 0.7. This is exactly the code that was executed during this action. So we can go here, and that's probably where we log the exception. That's probably where it happens. So we can put a breakpoint here and investigate what's going on. This is a trick that I wanted to share with you. So indeed, code coverage, I think, is a great debugging tool.
I mean, if you don't know from where to start, you can use coverage to investigate where is the starting point and then use actual debugger from your preferred IDE. So we just busted that code coverage is not only to measure coverage, surprisingly. Let's get back to our examples.
You have other examples? I thought just one is
that
enough.
Like that's it and we should all go and have party?
Okay, second one. Let me choose the wrong
Here we wanted to select the best conference in the city. And we've been at Devoxx Morocco recently. So in Marrakesh it's Devoxx Morocco. And here it's, of course, JFall. And let's test this.
Okay, so Copilot is not helping. Best conference in the city Marrakesh is obviously the Vox Morocco. And well, best conference in EDA is obviously GFOL, I think.
Or do you think it's the best in Netherlands?
No? So, let's verify. There is 2 values. I wrote 2 assertions. Should be good.
And of course
it is not.
It is not.
But you know what's that strange? Enum has 2 values. I cannot write better. Sorry.
Yeah, but
that's it.
You know, I think you can.
How?
Mocking.
Mocking what?
Do you use mocks in your tests?
Mocking what?
So I don't know, mocking.
Okay.
Try mocks like you're a principal engineer.
No, I hate mocking actually. Sorry for saying this, but I don't like mocking. But let's try.
You should not say it out loud.
Yeah, why not? What do you want me to mock? Okay, let me mock. That's gonna be my mock. Makito.
You see, I added Makito as dependencies, so it's fine to do mocks.
Let's don't offend Eda. Assert equals, I'm gonna get now if I ask for the best conference in Marrakesh. And yes, of course, I can use assert now. Okay, I mocked.
Was it
we
Sonar
wanted no, it was IntelliJ. So we want to test this null case default, so assert null.
You agree the mock is right? No. You see?
What?
Okay, let's check.
Let's check. It doesn't work. I know why it doesn't work. We constantly receive this thing in JaCoCo mailing list. Code coverage measurement is just incompatible with mocks. That's it.
So you guys raise your hands if you're using mocking in your tests. So almost the whole audience is using mocks, and you say that code coverage doesn't work for them?
Yes.
I think there is a problem with your mock itself. See the point. Best conference is actually the function that we want to test. But you mocked and you made it return the exact result. So actually
that's exactly what our users do. But okay, humans, I should mock something different. We should not mock.
You should not mock the function that you want to test. What you want to mock is the dependency of the function. So, and in our case, you should probably mock the enum.
What? Enum is final.
But let's try, come on, let's give it a try.
You can do this nowadays? You can mock final things?
Who thinks we can do it?
Okay, do return. Switch is done by ordinal, so let's mock the ordinal. Let's return some trash here. And okay, on the original instance, best conference, and this crazy, you want this? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Hard to believe that it works, but let's try. Wow.
Yo. So you see, we can achieve 100%.
Let me try one more thing. I don't really like the black magic, like mocking finals, going somewhere into JVM base, doing this stuff. This tends to break when we upgrade JVM version, and you know what? Nowadays, every 6 months, we get a new JVM version. Will this work if I upgrade to the latest early access build?
Please, don't do it.
Don't do it live or what? Don't do it at all?
Come on, guys. Usually, before the talk, there is a common belief that we should not do any upgrades before your talk. But he wants to do it live during the talk.
Sorry, I don't have actually latest. Can I just try what? Or I have a latest.
Okay, the latest that you have 23 something.
We are currently at what? We are currently at 21. Can I just maybe try 23? Just for the sake of trying. Will it work?
I hope so.
Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Makita cannot mock this class. Cannot mock final classes. Wow. What a surprise, right? Okay. You know
Oops.
what? I really don't like black
magic. I told you
magic.
we should not do it.
No, I told you we shouldn't do it. I don't like black magic. We've been at Java 21, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you don't need a black magic to achieve 100% test coverage. Just simplify your code. You know, in Java 21 we have switch expression. Can we refactor this? Like, use switch expression. You know, if you use switch expression, if we list all values of enums, we don't need default. We can. Like,
actually,
it's much better now, no?
Is there somebody from JetBrains? Because shout-outs for this refactoring.
It took us, what, 4 steps, but it's wonderful. So I don't need mocking now, so hopefully on Java 23 it's going to work as well. Let's try. Yay, 100%, and we don't need black magic.
Wow. So what we learned, like, let's maybe summarize a little bit our small piece. So first of all, code coverage JaCoCo works with mocks if you know how to write mocks. Then, and sometimes you don't even need to do some additional stuff in your tests to achieve better coverage. You can refactor your code actually.
Right.
And remove something.
Should we move on?
Yeah, let's get to the next example.
Example 3.
You see, I used switch expression.
Ah, so you knew that switch expression exists, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to catch you, but...
Okay, what we have here? We have records, sealed interface, rectangle, square, and we compute perimeter. Yeah. I think, and switch expression, we don't need mocking here, should be straightforward. So, if we have a rectangle, I'm lazy, and you know what, if we have a square, like, should be good.
Mm-hmm.
Agree?
Yep.
Int and rectangle. No, you agree with something weird. We don't compute perimeter. We need to compute perimeter.
Are you checking me, like that I'm following you?
I'm checking if everybody else is following us. So I think I wrote a good test. Let's try. What?
Oops.
What?
How many? 8? Do you see 8 branches?
There is 2 covered branches on this line. That's what we expect. There is 2 covered, 2 missed branches on that line. Do you see them? Because I don't, sorry. And here we have 1 missed branch out of 2. What? What we are doing wrong?
What? I think I told you we should not upgrade Java version.
Let's try go back.
This is how we actually do debugging. Yeah? When something strange happens, the first thing you do is like change Java version. Then if it doesn't help, you reboot. I hope we should not reboot.
No, jokes aside, don't do huge increments, do step by step, and then you will know which step breaks things. Yay, 100%. Wonderful. On Java 21.
So But technically, isn't it a bug in JaCoCo?
Yes, it is a bug, and here we busted another myth. Many people believe that code coverage doesn't depend on the compiler, but tools like JaCoCo and many other, they do observe the result of the compilation, and they work with the result of the compilation. And what is surprise, different compiler versions may produce different result of compilation, different class files, different bytecode. So those tools inherently depend on the compiler version. And yes, in this particular case, something changed in the compiler, we would need to investigate and fix this. Either on the compiler side, something goes wrong, or indeed in JaCoCo, we show you something that you actually didn't write, that something exists in the bytecode but does not exist in the source code.
Okay,
do you have something else?
Yes, I have a few more examples. We have 50 minutes here. Come on.
Okay.
Don't be so lazy.
Ooh.
So
You're making them more and more complex, right?
come on, how many?
Get
15
best
lines of code?
conference, load conference. Yeah, now switch expression should be easy.
So it's pretty similar to the example 2. The only difference is now we return optionals instead of like values.
City and TCG string, devox Morocco. If we ask for get best conference city
I think
Marrakesh.
shouldn't it be optional of?
No, we unwrap optional.
We unwrap, okay, I see. Yeah.
We unwrap optional here. And it's gfall if it is. And should be good.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay, let's try.
Should we, for the sake of change, try something else? Like,
Yeah,
I
I think like we're just always running JaCoCo, but sometimes people run code coverage in their IDE, so let's try IntelliJ built-in code coverage.
yeah, why not?
By the way, do you know that in IntelliJ you can choose between JaCoCo and IntelliJ engine?
100. First shot. Yay!
Okay, and we promised you we are not going to show you Sonar today, but we lied. So
You
let's
want to
maybe
see the same in Sonar?
yeah, let's check what Sonar shows.
But come on, everybody knows that Sonar just loads result of code coverage measurement and shows it to you. We just got 100%. It will show 100, right?
Let's check.
Okay.
Who knows what's going to happen?
So here is our example. Here is Sonar. Here is the main branch. You see 100.
Okay.
From the very first attempt. Here is this example.
And you know what? Like, Sonar only imports the JaCoCo report. So under the hood, there was JaCoCo report that already showed 100, probably, yes? Let's look at the JaCoCo report.
What do you expect to see here? Like IntelliJ said to you 100, Sonar said 100.
Let's check, like, you know, it's 2024, we had COVID, we have war, so I am not surprised by anything.
Trump become president.
Second time.
Ouch.
So you see, Sonar imports code coverage result from JaCoCo, shows 100%, while JaCoCo shows 90. Let's actually look.
You know what? We are comparing something uncomparable, apples to oranges.
What do you mean?
Here, just read the name of this column.
So
Missed instructions, and missed lines is zeros. What Sonar and IntelliJ show you is this.
So
0 missed lines, but JaCoCo measures a little bit more.
Technically, IntelliJ and Sonar and JaCoCo, they're all consistent, with the difference that JaCoCo also shows you instruction coverage. And here...
Can you spot the line? I hate this part in JaCoCo reports, and in the course of 15 years I haven't fixed it. It's not colorblind friendly, and I'm a little bit colorblind, but the line 16 should be of a different color. It's partially covered, because something on that line was not executed.
So, because we never actually check the throw.
Okay. Okay.
So you already know how to write mocks?
Unfortunately, yes.
And here we think we cannot avoid them. So this time you have to write them.
Let's mock again the enum. Let's assert. So what do we want?
We don't want to mock enum. I think we want to mock example 4.
Oh, that's great. We can actually, you're right. Here we don't need the black magic. We can spy on the instance, right? And we can mock a dependency. In this case, do return
optional, I think, empty.
Yes, do return optional empty. And this time the dependency is not enum but load conference. What? City, let's don't offend Ada. And we are gonna assert throws. Time exception when we do what? When on our mock we get best conference city Marrakesh. Like this? Is it
I
good?
hope it works. I think I cannot spot immediately anything wrong, so let's check.
Yay!
Oh, 100. So we spot today that line coverage and branch coverage might not be enough because there is also instruction coverage. And only line coverage is also might not be enough because there is branch coverage. So as more metrics you have, the better the results.
Metrics, you know what?
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Like, since we already went into that
Do you know
direction,
what we are thinking about?
how could
Line
they do
coverage, branch coverage. Is there any other metrics? Do you know?
Come on, let's stop this intrigue.
Okay.
I think since we started checking all the tools, let's check mutation coverage. Have you heard about it? So for those of you who don't know, in simple words, there is a technique that shows you another level of metric about your code or test coverage. The technique is that you introduce some changes into your main code and then run all the tests. If the tests failed, it means that the change that you introduced was actually tested. But if all tests pass, it means that this mutation that you introduced was never tested, so you have like something uncovered. It actually helps you to assess the quality of your tests, not only how much of the code is covered, but how well your tests are written. It's nice to spot when you forget to write assertion or something like this, because like the code was executed, but you don't really like check the result. And you know what? While I was speaking, Evgeny wrote the tool that we've been using at speedtest.
And test is well-known mutation coverage engine for Java. Here is the result. Line coverage is 100%. Mutation coverage is not at all 100%.
Let's check what it shows us.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It shows exactly the modifications, what Marharyta explained. If you do the following modification, either the test so-called survived, the mutant survived, or the mutant was killed. The mutant was killed is good, and when the mutant survived is not good. So when we replaced return value with null for the first lambda in getBestConference, this was not tested. Let's check what it's telling us. So it says to us, if we go here or else throw and drop that line, our tests are still gonna work.
That's strange.
Let's reformat. It works.
And speedtest didn't lie to us. So technically, we changed the line, but all the tests pass. It means that we are not actually testing it correctly. And I think the fun fact, we actually should have a rule about it at Sonar. don't wrap your exceptions into runtime exceptions. The reason why we'll fail here is that actually null pointer exception happened because we returned null. And null pointer exception is a runtime exception. So we expect runtime exception because we throw it, but actually runtime exception appeared because null pointer exception happened. At Sonar, we suggest you to show, to wrap it in something more specific, like illegal argument exception, illegal state exception, or any other, or maybe your custom exception, but don't just do runtime exception. Because there are a lot of other runtime exceptions that could happen in your code.
So what you're suggesting, we probably better be testing not just a runtime exception, but also, for example, that we expect
some message
here, right?
Yeah, and if we just test the message, you would already spot this problem.
Conference not found. Let's try with a mutant. Will it work? No, this time it doesn't work.
That's what we expect, yeah.
Yes, we got a runtime exception with a such message, but we expected the other one. Great, so let's return to our original code. Test should be still passing. And we need
to write a p-test.
To run the p-test again. Let's first run the test, compile everything. And let's run the mutation coverage. We aim for 100 mutation coverage, right?
Yeah.
Oh, all mutants were killed.
Perfect.
Can we get, yes, 100.
So do you think our code is now perfect? I think we already have this.
Why it's not perfect? 100% line coverage, instruction coverage, mutation coverage. What's wrong with it?
I think because customer actually wanted to load it from the database, and we completely ignored this requirement.
Okay, but 100% coverage. That was the goal, right?
So I think let's get back a little bit to our points. So first of all, you spot that code coverage is not the same in all tools. Sometimes tools lie to you or show more, so you have to be attentive and understand how the tools measure coverage. Then line coverage is not enough. There is also instruction, branch coverage, and mutation coverage. Then 100% of code coverage doesn't guarantee you test quality, because if you have no assertions, then it will be 100%, but your test might not be correct.
Mutation coverage guarantees quality?
And this is actually also not true, because while we achieved 100% in mutation coverage, our code was not executing as our customer expected it to execute. Because there is no tool to check your customer's requirement. There is no tool that can guarantee your quality. We still need the brain to do it.
Do you have other examples for me?
I think that's it with the examples, but there is something else we wanted to talk about.
Tell me.
I think usually a lot of people who come to us who report issues about code coverage or any other issues are not developers. They're managers. Because they look at code coverage, they see that it's not 100%, they think the project is bad, or they think the tools is bad, or something like this. And they sometimes force their developers to write stupid things, like, for example, mocking enums, or not upgrading to some Java versions, just because if you do this, you will have lower code coverage. And if you never face a situation like this, you're probably a very lucky developer, but I think most of you probably faced this, when there is somebody who forces you to cover something without understanding why we need the coverage. So what we wanted to do, to show you that code coverage is not for managers.
And they also use sometimes following as an example, look at this shiny project. This shiny project in my wonderful, internet is...
But you saw that our example...
Our example, look at this wonderful project, 100% coverage. Now look at your project, which is, well, JaCoCo itself.
So yeah, are you curious to know what is the coverage of the JaCoCo itself as project? So we trust this tool to measure our code coverage. And ta-da.
Internet.
Internet. So who thinks it should be 100? Who says, like, if it's not 100, I quit, I don't use JaCoCo anymore? At least 5?
Okay, I have it local. That's fine. Now I would need to build it. That's a bit. Oh, here we go.
Here it is.
92.
Not 100.
Not 100.
How can we even trust this project?
Yes,
like
that's the arguments of managers. Like, this project compared to the other one in a very horrible state, right? Like,
come on.
But
it's even lower than our target at Sonar. At Sonar, we target 95.
Yeah, so, but come on. This code that is written here is serving people for more than a decade. So it's battle tested, it just works.
Trust me, it works.
Yeah, trust me, it works. But no, okay, let's look in details what is in there in those remaining 8%. And here is one of the examples, JaCoCo code base. This is what is not tested. There is switch on enum. All enum values are listed, and well, this is the default that cannot be reached. And
why
we
not
don't
using switch expression?
So first of all, we don't write stupid tests for the sake of coverage. We don't want external dependency to not have troubles with JVM upgrades, because we are testing actually wide range of JVMs from 1.5 with which we are compatible till the latest one early access build, and you got also an answer on your question. We are still compatible with Java 5, so we don't have switch expression. Sorry.
As I told you in the beginning of the session, we are all doomed. So code coverage is not for managers. Don't show this to manager. Use it as developers. And I hope now you have some tools and arguments to fight the managers.
And that's it? Or you have other example? I
still think we still have some time.
This time I have example for you.
Okay.
Do you know observer effect from physics?
You mean one from quantum physics? Like the fact that you're actually observing like particle is actually changing the behavior of it?
Yes. Could you explain?
Yeah. I think like we've been focusing a lot on the correctness of the coverage and how code coverage works itself, but we never thought about the fact that we are measuring the coverage actually affects the measurable. So, for example, like if we add the code coverage, does it change the performance of your code? Like, do you think that your tests are slower with code coverage than if you just run your tests?
Let's don't guess. Let's measure. Right? So here is Fibonacci numbers calculator. This time we're not going to write the test. Trust me, it works. Or quickly observe the code. It's usual way of computation.
But we don't actually care about the
we just need some computation. So here is some computation. And I have a benchmark. We are not going to go through all of this. We just need to understand what is happening here. And while I'm running it, I'm going to be explaining. We have 3 targets. Original code not instrumented by code coverage, instrumented by JaCoCo, instrumented by JetBrains coverage engine that exists in the IDE. And we also running a no operation benchmark just to see if our benchmark makes sense or not. Are we computing the right thing, etc. So here we estimate how original would compute Fibonacci number 10, how instrumented by JaCoCo, and how JetBrains. And hopefully we, by now, should
We don't measure the test, yes?
We don't measure the p-test, yeah.
Because it could take days, I guess.
Come on. Not on this example, but yes, mutating, rerunning the test itself.
No, I think we did some, like not micro benchmarking, but just rough estimates. And for which just executing test with coverage took like 5 minutes. For with mutation, it was 1 hour. But of course, that's only initial run. They do some increments. So when you have cache increments, it's much faster. But still, mutation testing is more expensive.
Can we get back to my benchmark?
Yeah, I just wanted to give you some time.
So, no operation. No operation is fastest thing. Do nothing, and it's going to be fast. So here we are. This is our baseline. Original is obviously slower. We do some computation, so seems that our benchmark makes sense. Now let's look at how JaCoCo scores. If we instrument with the JaCoCo, we are slower than the original. So observer effect, indeed, we cannot observe something if we don't affect it. And here we affect the performance. And look here. JetBrains coverage engine, it's how much times slower? Like 4 times.
A lot slower.
So now you know how slower your tests when you run them with code coverage in IntelliJ IDEA. Just some thoughts.
Just food for thought.
Some food for thought. So I guess we busted.
Yeah, we busted one more, that measuring code coverage actually affects your application. And I think this is it. Yeah. I think we need to get back to our initial meet, yes?
Yes, right. So, should the code coverage be 100%? Do you still believe in this? No. We don't, so
we think that code coverage should not be 100%, but it should be at the level when everything that is supposed to be covered is covered. Of course, this is much harder. Of course, it's much easier to say cover 80%, 90%, 60%, instead of thinking what you should cover, what you should not cover. In ideal world, of course, it's 100%. But as we showed you, a lot of things can affect the coverage. And the world is not ideal here. So it would be nice if at some point in time in tools like Sonar, we would have some way to accept, won't fix, or ignore some code and say, this one we don't want to cover, or this one is impossible to cover. For now, we don't have it, so we just live with what we have. And we hope that we busted this myth for you. And there are a few more things that we want you to take from this presentation. First of all, code coverage is a developer metric. It's not for managers. It's not for assessing the quality of the product. It's to help you to write your product better. Tools are not ideal, as we showed you. Tools affect a lot the way how they measure it, and sometimes they have false positives, false negatives, they lie to you. However, tools are still helpful. Even though they sometimes are mistaken, you can learn from these mistakes, you can understand what's happening, and when you look at the code coverage and you see that something is not covered, it's nice to spend some time to understand why this is not covered. Is it your fault? I mean, is it your mistake, bug somewhere, or is it a bug in a tool? And feel free to report if it's a bug in a tool. And never try to please the tools. Never try to achieve 100% for the sake of 100%. Always try to think why this is happening and use the tools smartly. And thank you for having us, and I hope you enjoyed it.